Freddie B here. It is Monday after the Canadian Grand Prix, and what a Grand Prix it was. Let's go through a quick review of the race. It started out rainy, really weird rainy Canadian weekend. It could rain, it could not rain. It was on again, off again. It was great. Strategies were changed, and it was anybody's race. 18 cars started on intermediates. The two Haas cars started on full wet, and it was the best fun for those two cars for at least 3 laps, as Kevin Magnussen passed 7 cars in the first 2 laps, and Nico Hulkenberg, the Hulk, passed 5. So they had moved up big, and they were in points-paying positions as they use the wet tires to their advantage. Then, eventually, the track started drying out, not too dry where they went to slicks, but where the intermediate tires that the other 18 sat on. So then what happened is, instead of being passed on the tracks, both Hulk and Magnussen had to go into the pits. Magnussen goes in. He was up to 5th. I think he even passed Hamilton early in. He might have been in 4th place. He goes in, and a fumble on a pit stop. They couldn't get a tire on. So he had a couple of extra seconds in the pits. Everybody got by him, and it probably cost him a points-paying position for Kevin Magnussen. More on that later. Stay till the end. This gets good. The race was funny because it wasn't a sprint. It was like a crawl because everybody was fighting for traction to get into turn 1. But Russell did lead the pack into turn 1. As he started the race on pole with Max second. They had identical times in qualifying at 1:12.000. They went out to 3 thousandths, and they were tied. Formula One started going to 3 thousandths when the timers could do that. I think it was 1981. So identical speeds. The reason George got the pole, for those of you who do not know the rules, is he had set his fast time prior to Max setting his fast time. So the first guy with the fast time, if there's a tie, gets the position. By lap 20, Norris is in first place, Orlando Norris. They've had some races. And on lap 25, the standings are Orlando Norris, Max Verstappen, and Russell 1, 2, 3. Then there was a yellow flag because Logan Sargent spun. Unfortunately, he spun. Then he backed into the wall. Had he not just touched the wall, he probably could have continued. He had a really decent weekend going. I was really impressed. The guy knows how to drive. The Williams car is a tough car to drive. It's getting better and better as we're seeing. But unfortunately, it's probably too little too late for Logan. I hope he continues to race for Williams for the rest of the year, personally, because I like to have an American in there. But secondarily, maybe he can impress somebody at IndyCar or somewhere else, because he's got a future ahead of him. If he doesn't, it's okay. There's money in the family, from what I understand. Okay, the ensuing pit stop, remembering that you have Orlando Norris first, Max Verstappen second, George Russell third, and Oscar Piastri fourth. The Max, Russell, and Piastri all pitted. Norris stayed out. Probably shouldn't have. Probably should have pitted. All right? Because as they came out, when they get to that blend line, all right, at the end of the pit straight, he drops from first place because of the safety car, okay, remember, to third. So, again, Norris was first. Verstappen, Russell, and Piastri all come in and pit. Norris is circling the track. He comes in, he pits. When he gets out, both Verstappen and Russell have passed the blend line, and he is fighting Piastri, actually, if you look at the replay. Barely beats, I mean, it is like that. And he's in third, coming out of the pits. And, of course, the race continues. Meanwhile, back in the field, when they get the race started again, things are going well. Alex Albon pulls off the pass of the race, going for 9th place. He creates a double pass. They're going down the backstretch, going to get that hairpin. Okay, he comes onto the left side of Ricciardo, and he late brakes him and then dodges in front of him and gets Albon or Ocon, Esteban Ocon, on the right side, going into the right on the chicane, and he gets under them, and he late brakes him, and so he passes Ricciardo on braking, passes Ocon on the turn, and comes out ahead, and a double pass into the hairpin. Outstanding racing for the Williams driver, just unbelievable. So that was pretty good. So then the next pit stops happened. Okay, so in the next pit stop, you had Norris pitting again after Max and George Russell. This time they were changing from intermediates to slicks. They had done it, and Norris just hauled ass. Because it's green flag now. The green flag pit stops. This is the 18 seconds I was talking about, not the one before, sorry. And then, so you got these guys running. So he's trying to extend that lead, right? So in he comes for the pits. He gets the slicks. He's coming. Max's tires have already got one lap on them, and they're hot. You know, so he's got heat in them. Norris is trying to keep heating him, but he's got to go slow. So those tires are under heat blankets. They come out of the blankets and get thrown on the car. All this happens in 40 seconds. You know, they come out of the blankets. They're thrown on the car. The car's moving. The car's only going 50 kilometers an hour. It gets to the end of pit lane where it can go, and then it's got to go to the end of the pit straight where it re-zooms and rejoins the track. Where it rejoins the track, Norris comes out, and I mean he's a car and a length and a half in front of Max. But as he's putting the power down, and he's still in the water, so his tires spin, so he gets crossed up. And here goes Max, and Max gets right under him, and off they go, and the race is on, and it was incredible. There's a yellow flag because Checo hit the wall. He backs into the wall, ruins his fin, ruins his day, he's done. So he had a run-in with Gasly at the start. Nothing there, no harm, no foul. Then he got into the wall, and I guess he created an unsafe driving condition, I don't know, because he got a 3-grid penalty for next race, so we'll have to see how that plays out. Carlos Sainz spins, and right as he spins around, he's trying to re-enter the track, he spins back, and he just comes back, and Alex Albon, Carlos spins, and just as he's coming back on the track, he spins again, and he's backing into the track. And right at that time, Alex Albon is trying to avoid him and almost has him clear. And the Ferrari's rear tire just clips Albon's rear tire, spins Albon into the wall. Albon's out. Sainz continued. He got back on the track and continued. So sometimes you're just a victim of dumb luck, if you will. And it's kind of a shame. That was the most exciting thing to happen to Ferrari the whole day, because Ferrari was just so out of it this whole race. Anyway, 12 laps left, okay? Green flag. It's Max, Norris, Piastri, 1, 2, 3. Russell's 4th, Lewis is 5th, okay? Pretty good. On lap 63, Russell and Piastri are coming in towards the hairpin, side by side. Russell's trying to take Piastri. Piastri has the inside corner for the first part of the hairpin, and then the outside, obviously, for the second half. So as they both brake, they both turn, but Piastri, and he turned, he gave him room. He and Russell basically bumped wheels. And when they bumped wheels, Russell goes off into the hairpin, so he misses the hairpin. He has to re-enter behind a bollard that is set up. And Max and Oscar finishes, and he just clears Russell to maintain his position. But Russell drops back, and when Russell drops back, Lewis catches him and passes him. It was great. Okay. So now Russell is racing Lewis. They're back. You got Piastri in 3rd place, Russell in 4th, Lewis in 5th. Lewis catches Russell. Now he's in 4th. Now they're racing. Okay? The best part of this part of the race was the radio traffic that came on at this point, because Russell is going to try to pass Lewis, and this is Mercedes versus Mercedes. So here's what these guys get into their headsets. Okay? Here's what the pit wall says. They said, "We are racing, but it goes without saying, keep it clean, please." In other words, go ahead and race, boys. You know, don't take each other out. Don't do anything stupid, but you can race. So Russell gets around Hamilton, and let's see, they got around Piastri. So here's the finish. Norris, so Max finishes first. Orlando Norris finishes second. George Russell got around Lewis Hamilton, was able to get around Oscar Piastri, so he finishes third. Then Hamilton got around Piastri too, because that wheel bump did something to Piastri's car, slowed him down just a bit, so Hamilton got around, so you had that. Then you had for Piastri fifth. Then Alonso is 6th, Stroll 7th, Ricciardo 8th, Gasly and Ocon finish out the top 10. Pretty damn good race. A lot of mix-ups here and a lot of points mixing up. So here are my thoughts. Here's some things I take away from the Canadian Grand Prix. Esteban Ocon is absolutely motivated by kind of losing his ride or mutually agreeing to part company with Alpine last week after Monaco. He's probably going to end up with the Mercedes-Benz ride that Hamilton is walking away from. And he's going to get it at a good point because the Mercedes had shown some pace. They had a new front wing, and boy, they have absolutely re-energized that car. They ran very well this weekend. It was excellent all throughout the weekend, and especially in the race. So I would suspect if you are a Mercedes fan, you'll be pretty happy. He'll go to Mercedes for a year, and then Kimi Antonelli will take that seat. And then I don't know what happens to him if he retires or not. He'd be 10, 12 years in. He might retire. Who knows? Okay. Alpine was showing some midfield strength, though, with P9 and P10. Now, one of those reasons was Yuki lost it, and he lost a place. He lost points, points-paying position, because he spun, I think, on lap 63. So very possible that Yuki would have cost would have been in the top 10, and so that would have put Ocon out of, because Gasly was 9th and Ocon was 10th. Haas's strategy starting on wets, I think, was a great strategy. They went up through the field especially with Kevin Magnussen's ability to not hold up the field but just go slow enough to stay ahead. Especially in those conditions. It proves one thing. Magnussen knows how to drive, as does the Hulkster, in wet conditions. So, you know, that's a talent. I think had he not had the bad pit stop, he would have not suffered such a dramatic drop, and he would have had a points-paying position. So Haas probably lost some points, not because of their strategy, but because of a bad pit stop, is my thoughts on that. V-Carb showed some strength with Ricciardo being 7th. Good for him. He had a good weekend, and he needs to continue to, because I think Liam Lawson or somebody's going. I don't think Ricciardo, he's the guy on the bubble now. Now that Perez, although you never know, has signed a new deal, Ricciardo's the one who doesn't have a deal next year because V-Carb did re-sign Yuki. So for at least a year, and then I think Yuki goes to Aston Martin. Again, we've talked about that in my last video. Okay. So we shall see. The disappointment was Checo signing a 2-year or a 1-on-1 or whatever it is, and then dropping him and laying an egg like he did. Kind of crazy. Ferrari lost all weekend. Just didn't have the pace after coming off an incredible Monaco finish. Just no pace there. They'll regroup and go on to the next one. They go back to Spain, I believe. They're going to Spain. Check that for you. And all in all, I got to say the Canadian Grand Prix was really excellent. It was a great Grand Prix for everybody, unless you were a Ferrari fan, and it was exciting. And after the snooze fest that a lot of people thought Monaco was, this was really, really good. So those are my thoughts on the race review. Look forward to seeing you. You'll have my race preview for the next race coming up very shortly. In the meantime, have a wonderful week. I'll talk to you soon. Freddie B. See ya.